If you put out a code change that has more than 700 lines of code and it has logic changes in it, not only do I hate you, but the rest of your team does as well. Don't worry, there are some things you can do to shrink your code changes into some bite-sized pieces and redeem yourself before you get pipped. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Why massive code changes suck, and what you can do to change those massive code changes into small bite-sized pieces, and also avoid a bunch of pain whenever you're in like the rebase and comment addressing phase. Hey, my name is Fee and I'm a software engineer at Uber. I like to talk shop and hopefully you can get some value from this. Hopefully I can keep it short and concise as well. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe and let me know that I'm providing you some value. I've seen 3 main reasons. First, if you make a massive code change, it's going to take me a long time to get context on the change and dig through the boilerplate and understand your code. And that's not even the worst part. After I've made comments, you're going to address them, and by the time that I get back to the comments that you've addressed, I'm probably going to have lost all the context on my comments. And then if you have multiple rounds of comments, this becomes a huge nightmare. I've experienced it myself. I used to make large diffs as well, and now after the pain of experiencing that, now I don't mess with that again. And this last reason may be even more important than the churn and process issues that are caused by large pull requests. So whenever you make a large code change, it's not encouraging to the reviewer because they'll just see this massive change and it's very painful for them to go through and tedious. So you're not going to get as meaningful of a comment or a string of comments as you would for a smaller code change, where the reviewer can really analyze the logic and give you meaningful feedback. Because everyone here wants you to come out with the best code possible. No one wants an outage. No one wants bad data. So just make your code changes smaller. So how do we do this? It's pretty simple. We're going to break your code down into smaller chunks, and I'll run through a quick example with you. We're not even going to need to look at any code for this. So, one example. Are you writing a workflow to crunch some numbers? Instead of doing one massive code change with the entire workflow in one pull request, you could potentially break this down into like 4 or more stacked pull requests. So the first one that I go for is usually the low-hanging fruit, the boilerplate code. So a lot of code these days has boilerplate. You don't want to include that with your main logic because it's just noise for the reviewer. So make a pull request for the boilerplate and add the test for it, push it out. Then you can spawn a new branch from that last branch, and in this one, you can get the data that you want to crunch and write the test for it. Then you can push this out as well. Here you can spawn another branch off of that last one, and you can actually do the number crunching and then the test for that. Push it out. Then here you can spawn another branch for writing the data somewhere. Push it out. Spawn another branch off of that, and now you can log your metrics or your log messages or whatever. Test that, and then push it out. Alright, there you go. One massive PR cut into like 4 or 5 smaller bite-sized chunks, and you'll get promoted to senior, junior software engineer or whatever, and your team's gonna love you. And one final tip that I found really, really useful is that in the early pull requests, you can use those sweet pseudocode skills that you have to write some comments and basically add the logic that you're going to add in the future pull requests as comments, and that'll give reviewers a chance to like non-committally review that logic and help you with your implementation, because a lot of times the implementation details are left out of design documentation and things like that. So it's very easy for you to think about implementing something or actually implement it, and then later on you have to pivot based off of reviewer feedback. So the comments will give you a chance to test the waters and get a chance for some feedback on this logic early on so that you don't have to actually go through the implementation stage and waste time and then get pipped. See you next time.